Hello gamers, Skull Demon back with another Zenless Zero video, and today I'm going to be doing a couple of runs against the new Shiryu 7, or I say new, but it's been here for about a week, right? I'm sure many of you are familiar by now with the Miasma mechanic, as it has been some time, and, well, I did see one commenter specifically ask, what about your runs? And you know what? Good question. I think that's fair enough, and so for this video I'm going to do a bit of a live commentary, talking about the Miasma mechanic itself, the boss, and showing you a couple of runs with various teams, right? I'm not going to do like any extremely low cost teams, as I don't have all these characters built since I am free to play, but hopefully you guys find this, interesting, learn, and, we can have a discussion about this whole thing, right? I do plan to do a, like more in-depth video later on, but I've just been getting to other content, right? That's about it. So yeah, I'm gonna form these teams and we'll hop right in, right? So, of course, I'm only going to be showing the first half, right? I'm just going to throw it over in the second half just for the sake of it. And because the topic of the video, right, is primarily this first half. Now, this team right here, I'm sure you guys know why I'm running this team. This isn't exactly the team I would recommend for Zhu Yuan. I know a lot of people love to run it, but it's not something, it's not how I would run her, right? Or how I would recommend people run her. Especially given that Zhu Yuan primarily wants to do all her damage during a stun window. This team isn't the best, for getting those stuns, right? And so it can be disadvantaged in certain scenarios, right? This is one of those scenarios where I think it's not as well. Now, it's very dependent on your builds and how you do your rotations, right? You want to make sure your characters are invested, you have proper builds, right? And of course, understand the fights. It's going to require a bit of skill, if you will, right? The builds are nothing really too crazy, right? Since I don't have the highest investment on either of them. My Nicole is pretty well invested in terms of talents as things go, as you can see here. And here is her set, right? I don't have any particular build. That's a bit of a mix of both anomaly traits and crits traits, primarily crit. We are going to be doing double energy recharge here, as energy recharge is great for Nicole for her normal rotations without Astro Yao. So, yeah. Measure U1 is actually pretty decent. This is a newer build that I've got for her. As you can see here, the talents, they are invested like so. And here is the build. I don't have a limited weapon for her, especially because limited weapons are not that big of a damage increase for her. But yeah, there you go for that. Then here's my Astro Yao. My Astro Yao is, well, first off, she's on the wrong weapon. I only have one copy of Lucy's weapon. But my Astro Yao does not even have the minimum attack that she wants to have. She wants to have about 3,422, something like that. I could be off by a bit there. But you want to have a significant amount of attack, and I don't quite have that. Here are the talents. They're not maxed because I don't really need that extra like 2% crit damage. And then, of course, here are the relics. You can pause if you want to see those, right? We're not doing anything too crazy now. Yes, you may have noticed that these two are running the same set and that doesn't stack. You're correct. But we're not going to need it. I'm just going to sit here and talk about the mechanic a little bit. That's pretty much it, all right? So, yeah, let's hop in, and I'll just do a little showcase of running this team, right? Zhu Yuan primarily wants a stunner. Chingy's the best option. Now, you can do a off character like, what's her name? Caesar, and that's what I typically run. But the main thing is you want to make sure you get your defensive assist in, and you really get your dodges in. That's going to be how you break the mechanic. Additionally, you want to put Nicole in front of Zhu Yuan, as that is how you're going to get a lot of your quick swaps in. I mean, obviously with Astro Yao, it doesn't really matter, right? And I'm already messing up because she is going to... Ooh, wow, I'm doing terribly. Sorry. Live commentary makes it a bit more harder to focus. Normally, you put Nicole in front of Zhu Yuan so you can quick swap into her with the quick assist, right? That Nicole procs with every EX skill. Astro Yao is a bit different with her passive up. You're only going to swap into those two unless you do a manual swap, right? Now you can delay it a little bit right there, right? You don't want to waste too many charges on this unstun phase because, well, he's not stunned, right? That's really about it. Now here's his funny attack. Now we can't do anything about this because this team does not have any counterplay, but we're just going to get some dodges in there. Get some free energy. Again, going to do my best to not waste too much resources until we can get to a stun phase, right? Now, again, due to how this team plays, and I made a mistake there. Due to how this team plays, we are probably going to go into a miasma phase before we actually get the stun off, right? Which is fine. As you can see, we're almost at 75% HP where he's going to proc the miasma. So I'm just playing carefully, making sure not to spend all my resources. I would say, also, I would not suggest dumping resources during the miasma phase, right? And you'll see why. Boom, dodge one. I didn't get the second dodge. With Miasma, you can actually get a second dodge in. We're just going to keep building up here. Dodge again. Get that hit. Dodge, hit. Dodge, hit. And we already have half the meter, right? So we're going to obviously wait this out. Oh, I got hit there. Dodge, hit. Boom. Get us quick assist in. Quick assist are pretty good for getting it. Double dodge there. Almost down on the meter. And dodge. And boom. So we're going to get this chin type here. Cancel. Boom into another one. I'm going to ult here. I'm going to waste a couple stacks, but it's fine. I'm going to ult with Nicole here. I messed up the combo right there, but I wanted to just do that real quickly. And then boom, we can get swaps in there. Look at that big damage. See? I messed it up and it still did pretty damn good for a rotation. Almost one bursted him, right? Very easy, not too hard. You just want to make sure you get your dodges in because that's how you break your Miasma field. Pretty simple. And I'm actually running out of fuel here with my resources, right? Because my Astriel doesn't have quite enough energy for me to get the full damage boost. Oop, I messed up there. Thanks. Again, you definitely could have better play than me. This is just giving you an example of how this team is played and how, you know, you can beat this with this variant of team, right? It's pretty simple. And we're going to ult here. So yeah, as you can see, Miasma really isn't even an issue for this team. This is just like how you would really play the game normally, right? Especially given this team. In a normal scenario, right, you could have gotten a stun, right? But of course, this boss has its Miasma mechanic that's going to proc at around 75% HP and around 20% for the other one. Because if you do take too long, you will proc another one at around that HP threshold. But even with this team, a team that's not really ideal for Zhu Yuan, you're still going to get it off, right? So yeah, not too bad. Also, I know I forgot to check the actual clear time there, but I will tell you the in-game clear time is not going to be as accurate as the actual clear time that just show up here as far as I understand. The reason for that is because it's going to count the timer as soon as you load into the battle. So if I sit there and wait, you can see that the timer is still going to keep going up, like before you actually start the fight, right? As far as I know, this timer right here only counts the actual fight time. So even if I showed you the like timer in the menu, it wouldn't be accurate. I just want to point that out. All right, now for a little bit of a fun team, I'm going to do one that has a bit more investment with my Miyabi. My Miyabi, it's got a decent enough build, right? 100% crit rate with the passive, and then we also have around 180 something crit damage with all of her buffs active. As you can see, pretty good investment on the talents, right? And then here is the gear, right? It's pretty damn good across the board, I would say, except for like this and like the slot 6. Pretty unfortunate. Here's my Yanagi. Could be a lot better, to be honest with you. Here's the investments, right? I did max these talents because it's going to get her damage off, right? And then you can see here the actual relics. Nothing too crazy. I could roll better attack in some places and whatnot. And you guys already saw the Astriel. So yeah, let's hop into this. This is arguably Miyabi's best team, and now she is going to get a new teammate next update that's going to be better for this team in particular, which is going to be pretty damn nice for anybody who is an enjoyer of these two characters, right? This team isn't going to be anything too crazy, I can tell you that right off the bat. I'm just going to make sure to hopefully swap in between them enough times. It is worth noting that Miyabi is at a disadvantage in this fight due to the fact that, well, it's ice resistant, right? That's really about it. We're going to get a lot of our damage completely blocked from Miyabi here. I'm going to get these disorders out. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, so there's a funny thing with this boss is he actually will jump over your damage. So as you saw there, my Yanagi missed one of her procs because of the way this boss works. And it just sucks. It genuinely sucks, the fact that my damage is just completely gutted by him jumping. I actually couldn't believe that. Ooh, I got hit. Unfortunate. I'm going to waste my charges here. Which is going to sound crazy, but I'm going to do it. There we go. Get some meter built up. Triple dodge there. Boom, building up meter with Yanagi. Boom. Boom, he's doing his roll thing here. Oh, but we can't do the other hits because of the, again, how the team is structured. In case you don't know, right? You would be able to get a third hit and it'll get, you know, staggered and you do some free damage. It's pretty damn easy. I'm going to benefit off of this by doing multiple attacks here with Miyabi. Again, I'm not doing any like super crazy combos or swaps here. I know it looks like I'm doing a lot of swaps. It's not really too bad. Crossfire and proc. I'm going to stay on field this time because I want to just spam EX skill. And even with a non-perfect rotation, you guys can see it's not too bad to beat this boss with this team. I know this team is a bit more invested compared to the other team, but it's nothing too crazy. Ooh. There we go. Yeah, so again, that time was pretty... it was pretty okay. It could have been better. Again, I'm not the best player, but yeah, that's what that run looks like. Yeah, so this next run is going to be one of my preferred teams. It's actually going to be the Mono Ice team. Now, I have this one pre-recorded because I've tried this run multiple times. Because it's this team at its like absolute limit, right? At its absolute limit is pretty hard to use, right? You got to master a lot of skills, and it's primarily with Sakaku, right? You got to master her animation cancels, right? The whole like quick swapping thing with Miyabi and getting the ult off, and a bunch of like animation tech with Sakaku specifically, right? Because Sakaku has like a double dodge tech that you can do to get extra stacks, extra damage, so on and so on. And I'm not the best player in the game, right? I'm pretty average. I don't do half the Sakaku tech that you even need to do in this run, but I do think it's worth showing you the builds that were used in this run that I do already have pre-recorded. Again, I've done it multiple times. I'm just going to show you one of the runs I have recorded, right? I didn't record all of them. Here's Vaughn's investment here, and he is on the new set, right? This is how I would suggest many people run Vaughn. Double energy with the full new crit set that you're going to get. Typically, it's going to be easier to run. You're going to get a bit more damage than Astra Yao set, but if we are being optimal, there is arguments to be made if you play like a perfect Sakaku that the Astra Yao set to be better. This, for me, is just better personally, because I'm not like, again, I'm not the best player. I'm not doing anything too crazy. You can see the build is pretty decent, all things considered, and he does have his signature, right? And as for Sakaku, it's not optimal. I'm pretty sure this is even the wrong relics for her, I'm not gonna lie, but this is how you would typically run her for Miyabi. And so yeah, you can see here are the talents. Again, none of these for Sakaku matter too much except for these two right here in the core skill. And then of course here is the actual build here. A lot of crit on the anomaly set, right? And the reason you do this for Miyabi in particular is because it allows you to build up Frost better, right? And get your Ice procs better with both Vaughn and Sakaku. Hopefully Vaughn gets replaced by a better Ice Stunner, because that's really the upgrade we need for these Ice teams in general. Vaughn is just not that good for these Ice teams compared to the other Stunner options. And that's why Ellen, her biggest buff, is arguably not being locked to Vaughn anymore, right? I am also running Bashful Demon over Sakaku's other option, which is Lucy's weapon. It depends on what you're trying to do with her, but a lot of times you see in these higher level runs, they'll use a Lucy's engine because it gives you extra energy recharge, and you can still run slot 6 for the anomaly mastery to get the extra build up, right? There's some interesting like discussion that be had around Sakaku and like how to build her and like the way she's ran, right? There's a lot of nuance to Sakaku specifically. This character is more complex than many people realize, and honestly, arguably, if we're like talking Pride Win tier list, I'd say probably needs the expert tag, but at the same time, that tag is affecting the ratings, so like it's really here nor there. But yeah, we're gonna talk about this run. It's already pre-recorded, so I can talk over it actually. Right here it is. And so yeah, let's just take a look at here. And again, I've tried this multiple times. This is just one of the better ones that I had, and specifically the one I have recorded. Right. It's not gonna be a perfect run by any means, but we get a pretty decent clear with a mono ice team against a boss that is literally like we have a complete disadvantage over, right? Full ice team, so we're doing less damage, we're doing like less days and shit like that. Like this team is not ideal for this boss, and it still gets a good decent clear, right? Miyabi diff, if you will. Right. Oh, also there's no sound, I do apologize. I just didn't have sound on here. So we're already doing a lot of swaps, as you can see here. I swapped twice, crazy. Building up days of Vaughn, so I mean that's pretty much it. He does his wheel spin here, so of course we do the triple stun thing, and there's one important thing to note about this in particular. You get free assist points if you do this successfully, right? So as you saw here, or as you can see, right? Oh, I should probably hide my head. My bad. You actually, I still have like 4 assist points, right? I did the 1 assist, right? And if you do the roll correctly, they give you defensive assist, all 3 of them. You get to keep your assist points, right? It doesn't take them away from you, right? So it's another counter mechanic that's built into this fight for players specifically to take advantage of, right? So you definitely want to take advantage of whenever you see that roll attack, do a triple defensive assist, and that's why that Zhu Yuan team, for example, is not the best against it because you can't do it. And Astro Real does kind of fuck you up a little bit because she's trying to force you to quick assist into the next character, and this wants you to defensive assist into the next one, right? So it can mess you up a little bit, right? And so defensive assist characters gonna definitely have an advantage in this fight in particular. As you see here, we're just doing some basics to build up Vaughn. I'm gonna swap into Sakaku to get her buff active, right? Now I'm waiting here because I was hoping to get extra build up for Miyabi to get another level 3 basic attack off. Couldn't quite do that, and so you're gonna see me swap back into Sakaku and proc the buff. Very unoptimal. Ideally, in the scenario, you'd actually defensive assist into Sakaku and then proc the her frost stacks. I forget what they're called off the top of my head. The reason for that is because you can animation cancel Sakaku's defensive assist into her hold EX skill to proc the buff and actually do a quick assist there, right? Very important tech for Sakaku. So as you can see, I just go straight into it. I get hit. It's whatever. I'm just going to do this to get some stacks. And then, of course, quick swap into Vaughn here just to get some extra days. And we're going to do another chain attack to get some damage. I'm going to ult here because I'm trying to get as many stacks as possible for a burst rotation since he's frozen, right? Cancel the chain attack and then just continue with that. We're going to swap into Sakaku, do her ult because we're going to build up some extra damage for Miyabi, and then also swap back into Miyabi here. And yeah, you're going to do some decent damage. It could have been better, but my rotations weren't perfect. And he's going to go into his Miasma here. The thing with this is that I should have dodged here. If I dodged a second time, right, as you saw, I got hit twice. You can actually do multiple dodges and do about like 20% of the meter right there. You just got to time it correctly, right? I fucked it up. Some characters have a longer dodge. They can't really do it like Jane. But if you do someone like Ambi, Sakaku, or like some other character, they have a quick dodge. You can do 2 dodges and get even extra meter out of, right? So here I am just attacking with Vaughn because I'm trying to build up days in the background. As you see, you can still build up days. You just can't actually stun the target, right? So that's what I'm doing there. And then, of course, I'm going to get the dodge into, or multiple dodges in there to actually do even more meters. So as you can see here, he's already at half of the Miasma bar very, very quickly. And here's Sakaku. We actually missed the attack, so we don't get our extra meter buildup, right? But it's fine. He jumps over that attack, so we lose a lot of meter there. Unfortunate. And then, of course, I defensive assist in Sakaku, but we don't have full charges, so I'm just going to do that to proc Miyabi's quick assist and then get it, attack off, right? Building up with some Vaughn real quickly to make sure my crit stacks are up. Proc a Disorder, so we get an extra stack, right? As you can see, I'm just going through the rotation pretty normally, right? We get a stun off, and so, of course, I'm going to go into Miyabi and do her big time combo. Since we have the ultimate Sakaku, of course, I'm going to do that again because I want to get as much damage as possible during this window of him being stunned, right? Chain attack into Miyabi. She's going to get the thing off again, and then we're going to ult. Now, unfortunately, here I actually run out of energy. I don't have enough energy, and again, this is why it matters for ice resistance. I don't have enough meter either, right? I can't get the full level 3 off, and I also misclick here. As you can see, I just do a level 2, right? I'm thinking, oh, I have enough meter, but instead I accidentally misclick. That would have been a kill a couple seconds faster if I had done it properly, right? But yeah, as you can see, even Miyabi on her more free-to-play accessible team is still able to get a really good clear. And as you saw there, the timer is wrong. That didn't even take 3 minutes. It was more like 2 minutes, which is about a normal clear, right? But yeah, even with a team that is very disadvantaged against this fight, you're able to get it done pretty reasonably. Again, I don't have the most characters to really show this off, but this time I'm actually going to do a Bernice team with Yanagi. This is your typical double disorder team. I'll see before ending the video if I can do one with Jane. Jane is at a particular disadvantage with this fight. It's just really not suited for her. But I'll try that. And then I also do kind of want to do Mono Yanagi, as that one's pretty fun. But this one, at least whenever I tested before, performed really, really well, right? And he is fire weak, so it makes sense, right? And before you ask about my Asaba, I do not know how to play Asaba like whatsoever, so I'm not the best person to talk about that. But yeah, here's the Bernice build again. Anomaly characters, the talents don't really matter too much unless they've got specific scalings like Yanagi here. And then here's Bernice's build. Nothing too crazy in terms of investments, right? it's pretty generic. Bernice is not one of the characters I'm super excited about, so I don't have her, that invested really. That's about that. Why did it change the Bang Boo? I meant to do this Bang Boo. My bad. So yeah, I'll just show you this team, right? This one is pretty straightforward. You just sit there, do your defensive assist, and yeah, that's really about it. Another thing with this team is the team order matters. Like with the Miyabi Sakaku team, made sure Sakaku was in the last slot, the quick swap into Miyabi. You want the same thing here. You want Bernice in front of your other anomaly character, so that you ideally, right, can quick assist into them with her ultimate, right? Since Bernice got her ultimate rework, right? Also, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted. Trying to play and then live commentate, I gotta practice on that skill, right? A bit of a skill issue. But yes, Bernice's ultimate, it will proc a quick assist, and ideally you want to put her in front of the other anomaly character to make sure you get that quick assist off, right? Yeah, that's about that. Right? I'm gonna try to lock in here and actually beat this, so you guys can see. Right, couldn't get that because of, again, just how the character works. Start with that, and then boom. And we're gonna get some big damage in here with the sorters. Fortunately, that was timed perfectly, so even though he jumped, we still got the damage off. Pretty nice. Ult here. I did waste a bit of meter, which is quite unfortunate, but is what it is. Oh, we got the double dodge off. As you saw there, we just got like 20% of the meter, which is nice. Oh, I missed the dodge there, unfortunate. We got that one. Ooh, I got hit. I got hit twice. Holy. Yeah, as you can see, ooh, dodge there. Oh, we didn't get the defensive assist. That's quite tragic. Dodge, and then boom. I'm actually going to use the chance act here, even though it's not ideal with Bernice. And then cancel that. Boom, into the chain attack. Right, I wanted to make sure I build up as much meter as possible so we can get this, like, double disorder right here. Oh, I messed up my dodges. Unfortunate. Ooh, even messed up again. Tragic. But it's okay. As you can see, this team absolutely nukes him whenever you get the Miasma face down. So even double disorder teams, quite nice. Block burn. Oop, dodge. Oh my god, yo, I'm fumbling hard here at the very end. But yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Could have been a little bit faster, but I'm not the best player, as you can probably tell. But yeah, pretty decent clear with a double anomaly team, right? Great. So I was going to try other setups and, show and talk about it, but I realized a couple things. One is that I don't have the other characters invested. Yeah, I know it's possible. I've seen runs happen. I've seen people do runs, right? Where they've used Zhu Yuan, Ambi, and Nicole and actually beat this boss, right? But my Ambi is not invested enough to the point where I can reasonably do that, right? She's only got like half levels on like her talents, right? And the gear, I don't even have enough gear like to build her and all that stuff properly, right? But I know it's possible, right? And this is where I'm going to say that unironically, which it might be crazy coming from me, considering, me joking about him a lot, right? But unironically, EO has a pretty good video talking about what is going on here for this team, right? He explains it pretty well and actually does a lot of limitations on himself intentionally for these runs, right? So if you do want to see more runs or interested in it, I would definitely check out this video he made. Like, I was wrong, the real Zen Zero problem. This was a really good video. And I thought it was a good showing of what you can expect if you do limit yourself more trying to beat this boss, right? So maybe something a little bit more relatable than what I've shown here for some of these, builds and characters, right? Because again, I don't have a lot of these what you would make consider lower cost characters, like invested in to really show, right? I can only show you what I have here and sort of talk about, like, you know, what I'm doing for each run, like how to counter miasma, and pretty much my general thoughts on like each of these teams, right? Um, I can only tell you right now based on what I experienced and what information I got, right? That's really about that. So like to round this video off because it's already long enough, I don't think miasma is a problem whatsoever. Um, the information's been out there for days at this point, right? Uh, if you looked for it, right, or you just watched any of these other videos, you can see, or hell, even you experience it yourself, right? It's not that big a deal, right? You just gotta, well, for one, actually read the mechanic or spend the time to, understand it, right? Like it's in the game. The stuff is in here to tell you about how it works, right? Um, you just got you gotta actually put the effort in to learn the mechanic, right? Understand how this stuff works, how to counter it, right? It even tells you in game in the tooltip, right? Some bosses are going to generate the magic field. They're going to increase their defense, give them damage reduction, and increase interrupt resist, right? There's different ways that it's triggered. It's typically triggered around, again, like 25% HP, 75% HP, around that mark. And you can even delay it in some cases by triggering another stun or so on and so on, right? There's different tells for triggering miasma. And as per what it says here, right, when a boss activates miasmic field, they gain miasmic shield. While miasmic shield is active, they cannot be stunned. They can still take daze damage, they just won't be stunned. They'll cap out at 99. Stay there. Agent's attacks can reduce miasma's shield with increased effectiveness when using dodge counters, defensive assist, and ultimates, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure you do defensive assist, right? You do I wouldn't really use ultimates. I think it's better using dodge counters most of the time and then bursting them down with the window after the fact. And yeah, once you do break it, you're gonna take a bunch of damage from the purified damage, right? Once the miasmic shield is broken, enemies will take purified damage, and the agent will recover energy or adrenaline. You get, some resources back, which is pretty nice. And then nearby miasmic fields will also be cleared. So yeah. Again, somebody asked for this, so I figured I might as well do a couple runs, just show you what it's like for me. I don't think it's too bad. Maybe this helps you in some ways. Again, if you have any questions or anything related to this kind of stuff, I'll try my best to answer them before coming out with a more in-depth video on miasma later. Other creators have already done that, so if you are curious, I would just look at them instead, right? Because I'm slow, right? That's about that. So yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.